Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with the Spain News Update, and another corruption scandal is rocking one of Spain's most prestigious police forces, the Guardia Civil. But more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that have supported the channel recently, whether it be through buying me a coffee or through the new Super Chat option. Many thanks for that. And a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your ongoing support. Now, let's get into the news, and as I said, yet another corruption scandal rocking the Guardia Civil, the second one in less than a month. General Francisco Espinosa Navas, one of the alleged ringleaders of the Mediator case, together with former Socialist MP Juan Bernardo Fuentes Curbelo, aka Tito Berni, is not the only person of this rank in the Guardia Civil under investigation for corruption. Another senior commander of the armed forces, Lieutenant General Pedro Vázquez Jarada, has been under indictment since January last year for allegedly rigging the awarding of nearly 200 maintenance contracts in barracks in 13 command posts. This general was, until his retirement at the beginning of 2018, the head of the Subdirectorate General of Support, one of the most powerful positions within the Guardia Civil as it manages the financial and patrimonial resources of the institution. So corruption scandals again rocking or shaking the Guardia Civil, as we saw in that headline there, and former high-ranking officials in the Civil Guard, both of them generals, allegedly involved in these scandals. One is the Mediator case, which also involves high-ranking politicians, and the other, the alleged rigging of maintenance contracts for barracks of the Civil Guard all around the country, I believe. So not a good look for the Civil Guard here in Spain, which, as I said before, is one of the most important institutions in this country and one of the most important police forces here in Spain. Now, the coalition government here in Spain is apparently again on the rocks, or at least that's the impression that you would come to by reading the press, but according to the government, that is not the case. And Minister Felix Bolaños rules out a possible breakup of the coalition. The government is stable and will remain so, he says. The latest clashes in the coalition over the Only Yes is Yes reform and the new parity law have not affected the stability of the government. At least that is what the Minister of the Presidency assured this Thursday at a press conference. According to Felix Bolaños, the government is stable and will continue to be so, and the discrepancies between the partners are dealt with normally. I think it is much more nuclear for us to talk about what we have done and what we are going to continue doing, because we have a year of legislature ahead of us and we are committed to making our country a better place. And that is what we in the government are committed to. That is what we have to focus on, he said. Bolaños ruled out a possible break with Unidas Podemos and made it clear that there is a coalition for a while. So the relationship between the government coalition partners here in Spain, the PSOE party, the Socialist Party, and Unidas Podemos, which is even further to the left of the Socialist Party, go work that one out, is stable and not in danger, according to that minister, Mr. Bolaños. They seem to be constantly attacking each other in the press, and the fact that they can't agree on reforms to that Only Yes is Yes law would suggest otherwise, in my opinion, and the opinion of many other people here in Spain currently. But as we know, the objective of many politicians when they get into power is hold on to that power for as long as you can, even if it is to the detriment of the greater population. Now, as we know, there's a lot of money coming into Spain at the moment from the European Union, Next Generation funds, for example, but also through the European Investment Bank. Spain is getting a lot of money, in fact, billions and billions of euros. And as we can read here, Spain is among the countries attracting the most funds from the European Investment Bank, with 9.961 billion in 2022. Spain received 9.96 billion from the European Investment Bank, the EIB, in 2022, a volume of loans second only to Italy with 10.09 billion euros, while France received 9.96 billion euros. EIB lending accounts for 0.76% of Spain's GDP. EIB Vice President Ricardo Mauriño Felix said that these figures reflect the EIB's commitment to financing the future of Spain's economy economy through the green and digital transition, business competitiveness, and economic, territorial, and social cohesion. The backing of this body will serve to support the investments worth more than 23 billion. Spain thus receives 1 out of every 7 euros of the EIB's overall lending volume of 72.5 billion euros. So fairly clear the words there from the European Investment Bank. It is committed to financing the future of Spain's economy. And I've said it once and I'll say it again, in my opinion, the European Union has been a win-win situation for countries like Spain and others. Now, anybody in Spain at the moment probably looked at their calendar this morning, saw that it was the 10th of March, and wondered why the weather's so good. Because half of Spain today is experiencing over 20 degrees Celsius weather, and sunshine is prominent in most parts of the country. The weather this Friday will be spring-like in large areas because the thermometers will be over 20 degrees in half of Spain, and the sun will shine in most of the country, with rainfall restricted mainly to the west of Galicia. The forecast of the State Meteorological Agency, collected by Survey Media, indicates that temperatures will rise across the board except in the west of Galicia and in the Balearic Islands, where they will remain unchanged compared to Thursday. So there we go, and yes, you heard it correctly. Today, the 10th of March, and it's more than 20 degrees Celsius in most of the country. Fantastic weather, but how long is it going to last for? That's the question. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from Lily: the best app you can have is the old-fashioned kind of a weather thermometer outside your apartment window. Yeah, Lily, thanks for the comment, and no doubt that type of weather instrument that you mentioned in your comment is fantastic if you want to know what the weather is like today, but a lot of people nowadays want to know what the weather is going to be like in 10 or 15 days' time. And a lot of the weather apps that we have on our phones, for example, the one that I've got on my phone, can give me a rough idea what the weather is going to be like for the next couple of weeks. Are they 100% accurate? No. But in my opinion, they're pretty damn good. One here from Steve: we wonder why there's such a difference between the financial requirements for pensioners to retire to Spain and Portugal, as surely pensioners bring financial benefits to any area they settle in. Yeah, Steve, thanks for the comment, but to be completely honest, I have absolutely no idea why there's such a difference when it comes to financial requirements to retire in either Spain or Portugal. In Spain, I think it's over 2,000 euros a month you have to prove that you have, whereas in Portugal, I believe it's less than 1,000. But again, no idea why there is such a difference. Perhaps it's got something to do with minimum salaries in both countries. Again, no idea. Perhaps it's got something to do with the cost of living in both countries. Again, no idea. But if anybody does have an idea why there is such a difference, please let us know in the comment section below. One here from Outdoor Chilled: I also have all the licenses, car, truck, bus, except motorcycle. No problems to convert it to a Spanish driver's license. I paid the gestor 80 euros to fix the paperwork after I passed the medical test in his office with the video game. All included, less than an hour. And I got it in the mailbox after 1 week. The Outdoor Chilled, thanks for the comment, and this topic popped up on yesterday's live stream. The ongoing debate about British driver's licenses and their exchange was mentioned yesterday. As we know, the Spanish government still hasn't approved the driver's license exchange, and many British drivers still can't drive. And I mentioned a Scottish woman that I know who had a normal driver's license, a normal British driver's license for passenger cars, and the Spanish government made a mistake and not only allows her to drive that type of vehicle here in Spain, but any other type of vehicle. She can legally drive a truck, a motorcycle, even though she hasn't sat those tests in her country of origin. Go figure. Unlike your case, where you have in fact already pass those tests somewhere else. One here from Karen: here in the Alpujarra in Granada province, the water comes from our mountain streams. We have 8 fuentes in my village, so this cold, delicious mountain water is free. And of course, the water in Lanjarón is bottled and sold all over Spain. Yeah, Karen, thanks for the comment, and I imagine that you do have high quality drinking water down there in your town or village in the Alpujarras in Granada, because it comes off the mountains down there in Granada. Fantastic quality water, as you mentioned. And Lanjarón is indeed a bottled water sold all over the country. Here too in Madrid, we also have water that comes from the mountains, the snow-capped mountains to the north of the city. When the snow melts, of course, the water comes down in creeks into the reservoirs and dams, and that is what we drink in this part of Spain. But other parts of the country, as we know, aren't so lucky. They have to have water taken from the sea, which I believe is mixed with another water supply, and the quality of that water leaves a lot to be desired according happening to many people. So really, the quality of drinking water in this country depends on where you are, but in general, it is safe to drink no matter where you are, and that's important. And finally, one here from Duncan: Ferrovial has a checkered history of contract fixing. Just saying. It's not a black and white issue where they are good and the Spanish government is bad. Yeah, Duncan, thanks for the comment, but I imagine that most big construction companies, not only here in Spain, but also in other countries too, are always very close to the line that separates good and bad practices. With contract fixing, overcharging, and taking bags of cash to some politicians, just some of the things that have happened in the past, no doubt, when we talk about this type of business. And let's be honest, companies like Ferrovial have been in a very privileged position over the last 50 or 60 years in this country when it comes to infrastructure projects, because we're talking about billions and billions and billions of euros that have come into the country, and basically all of that money has gone to the same companies. Some of the projects have been successful, some of the projects have been white elephant projects, some of the projects went bankrupt and have had to be rescued by the state, for example, toll roads. But hey, that's the business, and you got to be in it to win it, as they say. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.